Hello, everyone. They say that the stars are above us, but what if we've been standing on them the whole time? For centuries, Egyptologists, astronomers, and even fringe theorists alike have come together and looked at the pyramids and always asked the same question: why here? Why this particular alignment? Tonight, in this episode of Six of the Stars, episode 56, I'm going to be talking about the Orion correlation theory. So please hit that like button, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And let's get talking about this, everyone. And hello, Cam. So basically the Orion correlation theory basically came about from a mainstream fringe discussion in the 1990s when an author and engineer by the name of Robert Bouval made an astonishing claim that the three main pyramids at Giza, Khufu, Khafre, and Menkaure, or sorry I butchered that name, mirrored the three stars of the Orion's belt. And he pointed out that their precise spatial arrangement and slightly offset alignment wasn't accidental or even aesthetic. It was on purpose and it was astronomical. And basically, ancient Egypt, he argued, basically didn't just reveal the stars; they built these pyramids to embody them, basically. And Bouvel also said that that also wasn't one of the first people to suggest this, but he said that Egypt had a connection to the stars, and he was also one of the most vocal people, and that because he was always he basically said that the architectural and deliberate expression of Orion and that was crazy. And hello, everyone who's just tuning in, come and gather around and have a chat with us. But basically, if you look at the Nile River and that, it lies east of the pyramids in a position alignment to the Milky Way. Basically, like the night sky is relative to Orion's belt. And basically, Bouvel said that these pyramids weren't just pointing to the sky; they was the sky, and they were rendered in limestone and granite to embody the earth, basically, and that. And every critic was coming out and dismissing the idea. But computer simulations that was run and had the data to produce results showed that around 10,500 BCE, Orion's belt would have appeared in a near perfect alignment above the pyramids, and that alignment hasn't occurred since. So why hasn't it been seen since? And that crazy, isn't it? So basically, to understand why Orion could have been significant to the Egyptians, and you have to look beyond modern astronomy and basically into ancient Egypt mythology, and that. And the constellation Orion is closely associated with the god of the afterlife, rebirth, and the stars Osiris. And according to this ancient Egyptian mythology, pharaohs didn't just die; they ascended into the stars. Basically, we have to reunite with Osiris, and that. So building a pyramid wasn't like constructing a tomb for them. It was like a launch pad of the soul into the stars, and and hieroglyphic texts. I've said as much because in these pyramid texts, I'll call them, speak repeatedly of this pharaoh. Speak repeatedly of a pharaoh who passes away and then joins the stars and links up with Osiris. And basically, the shafts built into the pyramids weren't randomly angled. These scholars have been arguing for years, and they've said that they appear to be sight lines aimed directly at Orion and Sirius. Sirius, obviously, the Dogon tribe of Mali have been on about that star system, But Sirius is the star associated with the goddess Isis in Egypt, and together basically it forms a divine cycle of life, death, resurrection. You know, um. So if you think about it, then ain't these ancient monuments that are like the pyramids and that align to the stars make sense in a world where the heavens could have been dictated by agriculture, time, belief. But it also begs the question now to how did the ancient Egyptians like manage such astronomical precision and that? So were they like master stargazers or astronomical brainiacs? Or did they have a legacy of knowledge passed down from even older civilizations like their ancestors and that? You know? So now this is where it gets even more crazy about Orion. The Giza pyramids ain't the only structures in the world. I'm now obsessed with Orion. In Teotihuacan in Mexico, the layout of the ancient city mirrors celestial patterns that some say include Orion's belt. The famous three temple axis of the Temple of the Sun, Temple of the Moon, and Temple of the Quetzalcoatl loosely like matches offset configuration found in Egypt. And this sparked theories then of a shared origin between Egypt and now Mexico. But I can't see it. I think it's just like, you know, how can I put it in layman's terms? Basically, I think it's hogwash. And even if you think about it, further south in the Andes, the Inca revered Orion as part of their agricultural calendar, and then basically incorporated its rising and setting into rituals and architecture. If you go to Africa again and in Nambia, the ancient stone circles at the site Napka player predate Stonehenge and show alignments to Orion. And then there's also across the globe cultures are separated by oceans and time. They always seem to converge on Orion. So basically, is this on purpose? Is this some kind of similar knowledge that has been passed over like worldwide from centuries ago? But you know, it's crazy to think. You know, remember if you're enjoying this, hit that like button, subscribe, and share, and turn the notification bell on, please. And also come and chat with me if you've got a different theory. While I'm talking about this. But yeah, going back to Bavol, and him and other theorists have highlighted that this 10,500 BCE is a crucial date. In their view, this was like the last time that Orion's belt aligned exactly over Giza, like I was telling you. When the Milky Way matched the Nile's position, and that this was the concept that became the core of what they called at the time the Zep-Tepi, or the first time, a mythical golden age referenced in Egyptian mythology when gods walked amongst the men and basically, according to this theory, the pyramids weren't tombs, like I said, they were built to commemorate this ancient epoch or like preserve the memory of it. And alignment to other ancient sites in Egypt, like the Sphinx's gaze towards Leo's rising, seems to also point towards this 10,500 BCE window. But this predates mainstream like timelines for Egypt and their civilizations for like several thousands of years. And basically, it means that the Egyptians inherited their knowledge either from an older unknown civilization or they somehow back calculate these alignments with tremendous accuracy. Like, you know, what is going on? I'd love to know. Yes, there was, Cam. It was like they were lining them up to like I'm saying here with when they done this one, they're saying that Giza was lined up perfectly with Orion's belt. No, I'll see if I can get um Share screen. Boom. But yeah, there's Orion's belt. But yeah, basically all this was like lined up with Egypt all those years ago. Everyone. But in 10,500 BCE, this lined up perfectly with Egypt. So, take that with, if you want to believe that, believe that. If you don't, I understand. And but yeah, all this lined up with Egypt, which is crazy when you think about it. Basically, like, you know, and if you think about it, also their pyramids also basically that I put like show like calculations that point to like the specific like constellation, that I believe, or not constellation, like the calculation for the sound, speed of the sound, or no, speed of light. That's it. Sorry, everyone, I'm having a bit of an up and down day, but yeah, speed of light. Like, it's crazy what the Egyptians could do, you know, all those years ago. So did they learn it from somewhere or whatever? And basically, the logistics of constructing the pyramids, with this astronomical precision is like staggeringly incredible because without modern instruments like what we have today, how did ancient builders like achieve alignments that could like impress scientists today? You know, because I'm not talking about like computer stuff. I'm talking about actual working like building. No hammer and chisel. That's probably like it's crazy. And also, studies have shown, I told you ago, this is what I was on about. Studies have shown that the Great Pyramid on there is aligned to true north with just a marginal error of just 3/60ths of a degree, and it's more precise than any modern building that we've built today. And the air shafts inside the pyramids, everyone thought they could ever for ventilation. Nope. Now it's widely believed that these air shafts could be astronomical in purpose, and that one shaft aligns with Orion's belt, like I said, and the other with Sirius, and that these haphazard choices weren't like reckless. They didn't they do it on purpose, like on accident. They done it on purpose because basically these builders understood the stars. Even the descending passage in the Great Pyramid once pointed to Tuban, which was the pole star at the time. Now, obviously, I talked about this in the previous Secrets of the Stars about the pole stars like Polaris and Tuban. But yeah, what is going on? What is so amazing about the Egyptians? This is one of the things I love about Egypt. And there's so ancient Egyptians, like they knew how to do anything, and it was just like you could basically if I go at a time machine, if I had a TARDIS, ancient Egypt is where I'd go because I would love to know how they done this. Whether it was the help of people from other worlds, whether they had some kind of deep understanding of knowledge which we don't know anymore. Well, it'd be phenomenal to know. Like I said, let me know what you think, guys. If you could have a time machine, where would you go back to? Like, I'm guessing most of you would choose ancient Egypt because it's incredible there, So basically, doing that as well, measurements of the Great Pyramid, as I said, encode the dimensions of the golden ratio and even the speed of light and that. Though many of these claims are oddly debated by people and that, but basically, the numerical relationship between the pyramid's height, base, and angle seem to be too elegant to be accidental, Some researchers believe that this layout wasn't just spiritual, but it was mathematical, encoding geometry that aligns with not just the sky, but with universal principles, I know. Back then, they didn't know anything. They just basically somehow knew what to do. And it was like, I bet if you went up to one of them back in the day and said, I want to have this house done in these exact dimensions, they do it. Because it is incredible what they could do, you know? Hello, everyone who's just tuning in. But yeah, some people say that this ain't science, though. We like their mathematical genius, right? But some believe that these pyramid builders weren't just like mimicking Orion's belt. They were embedding it into a larger cosmic framework, like a big server, basically. And the structure became a multi-dimensional message meant to last beyond every language, empire, and civilization itself. And that, but even mainstream Egyptologists to this day accept that the ancient Egyptians were skilled astronomers. But few agreed with the notion that advanced lost knowledge, basically. But however, inscriptions, temple alignments, agricultural planning, all support this idea. And hang on. Yeah. I think they used something like that, Cam. They got done something because, like, their calendar was based on Sirius's elliptical rising, basically. And basically, you know, the aligning temples, basically pyramids, and even tombs with celestial events wasn't just ritual to these Egyptians. It was political and basically a metaphysical power. And you know, in the fascination today hasn't stopped with Orion, by the way, because modern astronomy has revealed that the Orion Nebula is one of the most stellar nurseries in our galaxy. It's a cosmic birthplace teeming with young stars, strange phenomena, and basically, NASA missions have studied the region extensively, and even in modern star lore, Orion remains a key figure. There's been US cell signs near Betelgeuse, sorry for the pronunciation, to the mysterious Orion cubes that have appeared in fringe circles. The region seems to hold like a strange magnet for things, so this alignment only deems the mystery of why the Egyptians chose Orion's belt. So, what is going on with Orion, and why was the Egyptians drawn to this particular thing? Like, was that like some kind of thing? You know? So, basically, the alignment of the Giza pyramids to Orion's belt is close. It's not perfect, but it's close. Cafe and Menkaure deviate slightly more than Orion stars do. And there's no surviving Egyptian texts to even talk about to say that they confirmed this alignment was intentional. But the shafts in the Great Pyramid do align with Orion and Sirius around 2500 BCE. That's real, everyone, so don't think that's fake. The pyramids are astronomically oriented with high precision, especially as true north and to the south. But the 10,500 BCE alignment, that comes from like precision-based modeling, and it's speculative at best, but I believe it's true. And that. So the pyramids do have celestial connections, whether those connections match up with the Orion correlation theory, everyone, is exactly up for debate, because, you know, the fact that we're discussing this centuries later, after they've got left our planet, basically, the ancient Egyptians, not the modern day ones, is perhaps the greatest power that they've left us, because we are still talking about it today, like, damn, how did they build such, like, fine pyramids, you know? It's like, you know what I mean? So, perhaps it's still in the star. Perhaps it's still in the stone of the pyramids. That the knowledge is in there that future generations could decipher in time. Maybe maybe it won't be like thought of in this generation or the next generation. Maybe it might take a few generations. before we truly understand why the Egyptians chose Orion and that. But I hope that this has been enlightening for you and that. And if your view of the pyramids will never be the same after all this, like this episode, please come back for more. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share, turn the notification bell on. Comment your theory if you've watched all the way through. If not, go back and rewatch if you want, please, because I would love you to be part of this community. And also, don't forget to turn on the notification bell so then you know when I go live. I will be, of course, back on tomorrow night with the alternate reality archive. So feel free to come in and, take part. Take care, everyone. Big love to you all. And yeah, keep walking, everyone. Good night, and speak to you all soon.